Just picture this. Carved right into the sheer rock faces of Colorado, you have entire cities, totally sheltered from the elements. This is Mesa Verde. For over 700 years, it was home to the ancestral Puebloan people. I mean, they built these incredible cliff dwellings, but they also built this incredibly rich, spiritual world inside of them. And as we stand back and admire their architectural genius, a much deeper question starts to bubble up. What did they actually believe? What kinds of spirits did they revere in these homes? Well, today, we're going to dive into the mystical world of the Kachina spirits, these beings that connect the human world to the spiritual realm, and whose stories you'll see begin right here in these ancient stones. All right, to really get a handle on the Kachinas, we need to step back in time. These beliefs didn't just pop up overnight. They grew over centuries, shaped by the very cliffs and mesas these people called home. So, the ancestral Puebloan culture was thriving here for a really long time. They started way back around 600 AD, then moved into that iconic cliff-dwelling era. And all that time, a deep spiritual tradition was taking shape. Then, somewhere around 1300 AD, they left. But their beliefs? They didn't just disappear. No way. They were carried on by their descendants, becoming a vital part of who they are. So let's get right to it. Who, or what exactly, are these Kachina spirits that are so central to this tradition? Let's break it down. Okay, so at its core, Kachina is a supernatural being, and it's absolutely central to the beliefs of the Hopi and other Pueblo peoples. Now, it's important to think of them less like gods you'd worship and more like powerful messengers, intermediaries who can bring blessings from the spirit world, things like rain, fertility, and protection. And their role is, well, it's huge. They do way more than just one thing. They're spiritual mediators, carrying prayers from the people up to the heavens. They're teachers, passing down heritage and values to the next generation. Their ceremonies bring the entire community together. And they're also these powerful symbols of nature, which shows that deep, deep connection to the land. And what's so cool is the sheer diversity of them. For instance, you have the Tawa Kachina, who represents the sun, warmth, life itself. But then you might have the Matskawa Kachina, who is all about bringing the rain clouds, that essential blessing of moisture. There are hundreds of Kachinas, and each one has its own distinct purpose and personality. But wait a minute, how do we know these beliefs existed so long ago at Mesa Verde? Well, the evidence is literally carved in stone and painted on pottery, giving us a direct window into their ancient spiritual lives. It's pretty amazing, actually. Archaeologists have found figures on pottery and in rock art right there in Mesa Verde that are clear, early versions of the Kachinas we know today. This shows that the roots of this spiritual practice run deep, connecting directly back to the people who first lived in these cliff dwellings. And this isn't just ancient history. That's the key. This tradition is very, very much alive. Today, descendant communities continue to honor the Kachinas with these vibrant masked dances. In the ceremonies, dancers actually embody the spirits, bringing their power and their blessings right into the community, especially during those critical planting and harvest times. Now, maybe the most famous symbol of Kachina culture is the carved doll, but its purpose is so widely misunderstood. It's so easy to look at a Kachina doll and just think, oh, that's a toy, but that completely misses the point. It's actually a profound educational tool. Think of it like a physical textbook for teaching children about their culture and their spiritual world. The whole process is really simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. A child gets a doll as a special gift. By studying it, they learn to identify the specific Kachina it represents. And with that recognition comes all the stories, all the values, and the heritage that are tied to that spirit. It's a real hands-on lesson in cultural identity. And the craftsmanship here is just wow. Every single detail you see on a doll is symbolic. The specific mask tells you which spirit it is, the colors and costume tell tribal stories, and other little details like feathers might represent a connection to the sky and to prayer. Each element is so carefully chosen to capture the personality and purpose of that unique Kachina. So, from the ancient cliffs of Mesa Verde all the way to the present day, the Kachina tradition has left this powerful and really enduring legacy. And its influence today is just huge. It's an absolute cornerstone of cultural identity for Pueblo peoples. It's a massive source of artistic inspiration, a fountain of spiritual guidance, and of course, a constant reminder of that vital connection to the natural world. And this right here is probably the most important thing to take away from all this. The Kachina tradition isn't something frozen in the past. It's not a relic you find in a museum or at an archaeological site. It is a vibrant, living, breathing, and evolving culture that continues to shape people's lives today. And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. In a world that can often feel so disconnected from nature, the story of the Kachinas, born in the cliffs of Mesa Verde, asks us a really powerful question. How do ancient traditions like this one remind us to listen to the land today? What messages might we be missing?